Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me, as always, is my reveal of the classic fan favorite character, the runner to my cyberpunk, revival shooter. The one, the only, the man, the legend. Become legend, people. Josh Finney.
Oh, Corey, this quickly became a more packed week than we were planning, even with a season launch. It was already going to be busy with a season launch. There's a lot of really cool shit to talk about this season that's unlike anything we've seen in Destiny before. Then, 24 hours into the season, Bungie shows up to PlayStation Showcase, drops not only the reveal for Marathon along with an ARG and a Vidoc, but also, lo and behold, the first teaser for the final shape this year.
Yeah. Yes. Can we? Okay. Oh my god, dude. That whole trailer was so good.
Well, we're starting here at the top. You guys, no Zelda talk this week. No Zelda.
Zero.
We'll do a Zelda
No other game. Well, I shouldn't say no other game talk, but
no other non-Bungie games will be talked about here.
Right.
So I want to start with the final shape. We're going to go out of order. We're going to talk about the final shape first. This was so unexpected to see. Nothing made my jaw drop like this did yesterday, because Marathon, I was like, there's like a 15% chance, right? Like, realistically, we expected to see it at some point this year. But like, we thought it would be like late this year, because there's no way this is out before like holiday 2024. No way.
Right.
I personally think this is like a spring, maybe even summer 2025 title based on where they are in development right now.
Right.
But the final shape is there. My stream cut out right as this was starting, by the way. So fun fact. But we
Shocker.
start with, we're going full spoilers here. If you have somehow stumbled onto a Destiny podcast and you do not want to hear about a Destiny trailer, this is your time to get out now.
Yeah, get out.
But
Come back.
It opens with Ikora sitting near a fire, and you see her and her ghost, and she's holding this cup of liquid, and she's talking to somebody, and she's kind of recounting the last couple of expansions. She goes, we've killed gods, and it shows a Night Stalker hunter jumping at Savathun.
Yeah,
we've fought demons or something, and it shows I think that's Nezarec that the Titan is the Arc Titan is punching. Also worth noting, the hunter is in full classic Iron Banner garb. The set that just got put back in the game. The Titan is in the classic Trials of Osiris armor. And then there's a warlock who looks like they're in pretty generic armor, striking a wall of radiance into the ground, much to the chagrin of all of our warlock friends. Even in trailers, they can't escape being well bitch. We've seen enemies become our allies, and we see a close-up of Cayde and Mithrax fighting off just swarm of enemies with these three guardians as they're charging into the well. She goes, and I wish you could have been there. And at that point, this figure's been shrouded in the shadows, and you see the Ace of Spades glowing with the Memento Mori perk active. It's glowing, and you hear the voice. Yeah, I know, but I'm here now. And it's Nathan Fillion back as Cayde-6. He stands up to turn around. He goes, I'm here now, wherever the hell here is. And as him and Ikora look off into the distance together, you see the giant triangle from the front of the Traveler that the Witness opened up at the end of the Lightfall campaign. And it comes across the screen, Destiny 2, the final shape. The reveal is happening August 22nd at 9 a.m.
Man, dude,
the shriek that left my lips when this happened. I woke Chelsea up. When she saw why I was shrieking, she was slightly less angry with me. But this was the most unexpected thing. I was screaming. I cried a little. I could not believe this happened. I did not expect this. I'm left wondering how on earth did this happen. Half of our questions today relate to the final shape.
Yeah. How do they
wild.
I mean, I know Bungie's pretty good at keeping secrets, but how did they keep this a secret, man? The way that everything is so leaked everywhere all the time.
And I mean, this
Ugh.
is coming right off the heels of, massive leaks for Season of the Deep. A lot of that got leaked before the season, and finding out who one of the leakers was, this and that. It's very clear they did not tell any content creators this was coming. Very clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
We talked about this on we did an episode with the Bosch Rush podcast tonight where we broke
Yeah.
down the PlayStation Showcase, and we
Mhm.
said it during that, like, this and the marathon reveal very much feel like Sony was like, hey, we don't have a whole lot to show that's like meaningful. Bungie, we've owned you for a year. We need you to show something.
Mhm.
And you need to promote Destiny. Don't promote that new season that just came out. No, it's already out. We can't pull a Street Fighter 6 with this. We can't pull a Deathloop with this. We need you to show the final shape, which you're not even going to reveal for another 3 months. We're going to put the date for a showcase. We're going to do a trailer for a reveal. And then we want Marathon also. It very much felt like that, like it was kind of shoehorned in. We have so many final shape questions, Corey. I want to get to some of these right off the bat because it's all going to be stuff we were going to talk about anyways. Saint 14 writes in and goes, final shape question. Where are Ikora and Cayde? Let's start with that now. Where are Ikora and Cayde? The best guess I can give you is that this is somehow tied to Elsie's time traveling.
That was my first thought, was like, this is some sort of time travel / interdimensional something,
Yeah, it's time travel, interdimensional something. I've seen a lot of people wonder, how is Cayde here? And this is not I don't think this is one of the questions that we have, but how is Cayde here? How is Cayde here is the question that everybody who's even casually interested in the Destiny franchise has been asking. The best explanation I can offer you is this. I saw the guess. We had a whole bunch of talk going on in the Spoiler Alert channel yesterday in the Discord, of theories like, oh, well, Ikora is projecting herself in there. I actually don't think that's the case because Ikora's ghost is with her. Ikora is physically in this portal now.
Yeah.
If
anything, Cade's projecting himself from another time into wherever Ikora is.
It's possible. I think the presence of Ace of Spades also may not jive with that. What I can offer, the best guess I can give, pre-Bife video, the best guess I can give you guys is that at the end of the current story arc, the season leading directly into the final shape, the final event, I could see us launching Ikora us and Ikora launching ourselves into the portal, or that being the opening mission. Like Ikora gets pulled into the portal or something, and we chase out, like Zavala sends us after her. We've long suspected that Final Shape will involve some sort of time travel, to bring it full circle with Destiny 1, with Elsie talking to somebody over the radio. I still maintain that I think that's our Guardian that she's talking to in both realities, that she's talking to us on the moon and in the ship.
I think once you start putting the pieces together like that, and then the end of which raid was it? The where you're talking to your Dark Guardian.
It's the end of the Shadowkeep campaign.
No, don't you do it at the end of a raid?
Nope, it's the end of the Shadowkeep campaign because it abruptly cuts to you being in orbit afterwards. Yep.
You're right.
Yep.
I don't know.
We all thought we were going to get answers in Garden of Salvation, and look where we are.
Yeah.
I do wonder, does this tie into the Black Garden? Does this tie into the Garden of Salvation?
Yeah.
Because it looks like this very lush valley, nothing like what we see on a
but you see the big triangle portal in it too, though, right? I mean, that's kind of
right. But the Black Garden has always been like an undetermined place in time. So I'm wondering if if the Black Garden holds some hints there. We do go there in the epilogue quest of the Lightfall campaign. The witness is trying to erase information about the Veil and this and that. We're going to talk more about the Veil here in a little bit, though, because I really want to get to the new quest that we had come out. But I think that watching this 24 hours after the intro of the Season of the Deep was such a trip, because you have a cutscene where a Titan is going through the portal and goes through the portal and is dismembered, and you see all these dismembered like Guardian bodies and generic Guardian ships in there. Clearly we do something with the Veil to make it safe for Ikora to go through the portal and for us possibly to go through there. The best explanation I can offer for Cayde-6 being, quote, alive, I don't know if he's actually alive. I want to be really clear about that. I think it's more of when you die a final death as a guardian, we've never known what comes after. It's just presumed like, oh, well, your ghost is dead and then you die. The end. Your soul has to go somewhere because the light is what raised you in the first place. I think this is the memory of him created in the light. And it's very possible that after the final shape, we bring Cayde-6 back to life. It's entirely possible. Entirely possible that if you died, you're brought back in the light.
Yeah.
Which I think undoing Cade's death would be, I mean, if that was a consequence of stopping the witness, I think if it was done correctly, and I think there's a very narrow window for this to be okay, a lot of us, I think, would accept it as being like, well, this is some sci-fi bullshit, like our guardian and Elsie see a chance to change the past forever. We're saving Cayde along the way.
Yeah, but like then how does that affect Crow's existence and everything?
Well,
too,
I
right?
mean, like not necessarily along the way, but like
No, I know what you mean. I'm just like
we bring him back with us. Notable Sundance is not there, so I'm led to believe that Cayde is not actually resurrected.
Yeah.
I do think it's very much like him appearing, not necessarily as even a vision, but as kind of like, so on the moon you had the nightmares, right? What this is the inverse of that, and you're seeing like the spirits of like fallen guardians. I would love if through the campaign, like you have Cayde-6, but what if you get the opportunity to meet Andal Brask? You know, Cade's best friend,
or any of the dead guardians that we learned about through the lore.
Fellwinter. What if the Fellwinter, could be there? The Iron Lords. Like, there's so many things you could do here. Drifter, Drifter's old fire team. In fact, one of the guys who goes to the portal is Joxer, who is part of Shayura's fire team in the Trials lore, and is, or excuse me, he's not part of that. Reed is part of it. Reed is one of the Titans that was sent in, or one of the Guardians sent in, and Joxer is the one we actually see in that cutscene, who is in the Gambit Prime lore, and has pretty close ties to Drifter. I think that's one of the key questions, is just like, okay, well, now they've got a mystery for us to think about all summer, is how the hell is Cayde-6 back? And you're high if you think they're going to reveal that to us in August. We're going to be thinking about this until this expansion is out. The other one
reveal, though, man.
Saint has more questions for us, Corey.
Shocker.
Is it Cayde-7 now, or is he still Cayde-6? As far as he's Cayde-6, he's not Cayde. The only way he's Cayde-7 is if his exo body is reset. That's the only way. He would not have his memories if that was the case.
Yeah,
he is Cayde-6. It is explicitly confirmed by Bungie. This is Cayde-6.
Yeah.
We get another question. Hail Hydra. Hail Hydra Fool asks us. He goes. We know from past lore from our ghosts saying Cayde wouldn't be Cayde if he came back, just like Crow and Uldren. So is Ikora dead, or is Cayde a manifestation of the Traveler, or is it time travel, or what's your theory? This is a manifestation of the Traveler, as far as we can tell. This is absolutely 100% a manifestation of the light. I would liken this to Luke Skywalker appearing to Rey in The Rise of Skywalker, or Obi-Wan Kenobi appearing to Luke Skywalker. Really, let's make a better comparison here. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda appearing to Luke Skywalker is what I would liken this to.
Yeah, Cayde's a Force ghost, everybody.
Yeah, Cayde's basically a Force ghost. I mean, if you really want to get technical and be like, well, so and so couldn't use that. I mean, the weird Han Solo tripping on shrooms scene from Rise of Skywalker, where he inexplicably appears to Adam Driver because Carrie Fisher died. You could even use that as a comparison here. But I do think that's what it is. I don't think Cayde's truly back. I do think that our Guardian searches for a way for him to come back, though, as a consequence of the story.
Yeah, I do too.
Which I would not be surprised if the quote final shape tied into that. That would be, I think, like. And I think this is where I'm going to get a little speculative. We don't know when the deal for Nathan Fillion to come back was. I almost wonder, because it's clear that this was the plan that this was at least a plan for the last year and a half, 2 years. They knew the Final Shapes story before they even decided to make Lightfall and Final Shape into two separate stories.
Right.
So they've clearly known this for a couple of years. They were going to bring him back. Was Nathan Fillion coming back always the plan, or did they plan to use Nolan North? And after, we have to wonder, was him coming back? Did they go and ask him to come back after they'd already gotten rid of Gina Torres and after the tragic passing of Lance Reddick? Do we think that Nathan is coming back to help anchor it?
You think they would have done that, though? I mean,
yes. I think that Cayde was always meant. I think Cayde was clearly meant to come back. But I wonder if they went and asked Nathan, "Hey, if you come back, we want to give you a bigger role in the story going forward. We have a way to bring you back, like, legitimately." Nathan didn't really want to leave the franchise, from what I understood. With Forsaken, he
Well,
really
he
didn't
was
want to
doing
leave.
he was doing that cop show, right? And he was rapping Castle at the time too, and like he was doing
Yeah,
some
but
other projects
he's
in
he's
between.
talked
So like,
fondly
I mean,
about
he
how
was
much he
busy.
liked. He's fondly talked about liking how much story Cayde got, and like what he got to do in the Taken King and the base game and in
Mhm.
Forsaken. And well, he didn't even get to voice him in Forsaken, actually. That was Nolan North.
Yeah, yeah,
Because of scheduling conflicts. So I do wonder if that was part of it, or if they went, "Hey, we have Sony money now. We'd really like to bring you back." I like to believe that they had this deal lined up long before Lance's passing, which I'm sure they did.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
wonder now if that means that the role of Cayde will, if they will find a way to bring him back permanent. Maybe that's like something we're doing throughout the seasons, is working on a way to bring him back for good.
Right.
Because
And
we've
like,
already seen Asher and Sloane come back, characters that we thought were gone forever, and they've come back in different
yeah,
forms. So who's to say that Cayde can't come back in a major way now? You know,
yeah, and like
um,
you gotta. I mean, I think I'm starting to think maybe Zavala was supposed to anchor the story, maybe moving forward, or at least be that familiar character moving forward after the final shape, even if
yeah.
he wasn't a main part of the story, really. But now, like Lance Reddick is gone, you know,
I think
maybe this is that.
this would be for me a tasteful way to leave the Vanguard on Earth,
Hmm.
or like let Ikora go off exploring. She's kind of wanted to like fuck off for a few years now.
Yeah.
Since the events of Destiny 2, let her kind of go off and do her own thing. Maybe we encounter her in the next saga, since they just
Hmm.
recast the voice actress not long ago. But
Right.
Cayde gets to be like our quote contact on Earth, so that they
Yeah.
don't have to write Zavala out of this. They can just simply write him out of the story and like keep the lore going of what Zavala's doing on Earth. Leading the people
Right.
together.
Hmm.
That the Vanguard still watches over the Earth while you're off doing your new adventure or whatever. We
Right.
long
Maybe
thought
Zavala.
Zavala. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe Zavala's helping the other races kind of
Yeah,
set up camp on the other planets, or you
Zavala's
know,
retiring to Mars.
yeah. And I was I was just thinking like Sundance clearly isn't in the trailer, right? So like
Yeah,
I was thinking how funny Cade and Finch would be together.
I mean, I would low-key love that. We've talked about how it would be an awesome end to Finch's character arc if he got to be Eris's ghost in the end.
Hmm.
Um, I think it would almost be more meaningful if he got to be Cade's. If Cade
Hmm.
really does come back, I could
Yeah.
see like that being like, ghosts get to choose their own destiny,
Hmm.
and he wants to bring back somebody pure in the light. This does raise a funny question, though. I was saying, like, if Ikora is seeing the spirits of those who have died in the light, are Savathun and Finch's Hive Guardian just like chilling off camera, being like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about?
Right.
We're right here, right?" Like,
Yeah,
I have
but
to imagine that Savathun's just like, "What is happening here?"
I wonder if there would be a lore reason for that, where like only those who are truly good get to be resurrected in the light.
I think there would be caveats, like your ghost would have to be dead too.
Yeah.
Because it's worth remembering that Savathun is dead, but not dead because Imaru is still floating around out there.
Right. Yeah. So
Um,
like that, I mean, that would be Osiris too eventually if he gets offed at some point, right? So I'm
I will.
just trying to. But
We have another question. This one's a little bit more joking from A1 Johnny. How mad will Cade be when he finds out we started Guardian Games after he died? We started a joking fun event after he died. He's
yeah.
gonna be like, "What the hell, guys? Come on, I can't believe this.
No,
I
you know
can't
what?
actually believe this."
He's gonna bring back Sparrow Racing League. Here we go.
God, if that's how he comes back, I'm gonna be so upset. Uh, but Corey, we, as much as we want to sit here and talk about this minute-long teaser for the final shape, and we could
Yeah.
truly do an entire show on it. We have
Yeah.
another Bungie reveal we need to get to here at the top of the show. The long rumored. We covered this on the show last October,
Yeah.
actually. You and Nerd did, I believe.
Hmm.
Last October, Tom Henderson wrote an article for Inside Gaming detailing Marathon's revival. It is a PvP only game. There is no story to this. It is a 3-on-3 game. It is an extraction shooter in the vein of Escape from Tarkov. Chris Barrett, who was the producer on Forsaken, and Scott Taylor, who was the actual director, I believe, I may have those reversed, are directing and franchise producing this game respectfully. This was such a wacky reveal. This is such a cool concept trailer that was made. Cool. This is very like Josh centric. Like, this is a very me aesthetic, and like it hit everything I like. There are people running in a cyberpunk environment. There's wacky fashion. There's wacky guns. There's these cool colors. This is like, listen, I love cyberpunk. I love Edge Runners. I like Blade Runner. I like Akira, Cowboy Bebop, all that shit. I'm so excited for this. This is a me game. I've never liked an extraction shooter. I will play the ever-loving hell out of this game, though, because it's Bungie.
It looks
it's going cool, to play amazing, if nothing else.
Dude, the colors are so good. The color palette they chose to show off this trailer was so good.
We should also note that this is coming to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and PC. We're not dealing with PS4 and Xbox One anymore. They're gone.
Thank God.
Thank fucking God. They said some magic words here, Corey. I want to go straight to the Bungie.net blog post to read about this one.
I know what you're going to say.
There's an awful lot here. Every Destiny player cried in anguish when they said, by the way, dedicated servers, a world-class anti-cheat measure. Oh man, I was a little frustrated.
This makes me think that like Destiny's PvP stuff is going to totally be spun out, right? Like that either it's going to be that hero shooter we talked about or Crucible, and like the main crux of Destiny is going to be PvE moving forward.
Yep.
And that you can opt into Crucible if you want. You can take your gear over, obviously, but like the main crux of Destiny moving forward after the final shape is going to be PvE, and then the Crucible stuff. Or if you want to, maybe Bungie's trying to shift PvP away from Destiny altogether, and like you get the hero shooter, you get Marathon, right? And that's how you're going to get your PvP fix from.
I mean, I think PvP is such a huge pillar of Destiny at this point that I do think that this, for me, the announcement of Marathon actually makes me believe that Destiny 3 is more inevitable than not at this point. Mm-hmm. That they can focus on some seasons, but with another product out, they don't have to rush the next Destiny product. They can just they can do seasons and they can do some expansions for a little while to make sure the next thing is like truly built on current technology. But I do agree with you. I think Crucible will get spun out into a free-to-play mode, and I think that you're going to be paying for the campaigns. I think you're just like, I mean, you're basically paying for the campaign now, right? Like you're going to continue paying for campaign, and that way they can balance the sandboxes separately. But I think it'll very much be like, hey, you unlocked something in one of these games, you can use it in the other. You know, you can use
but
it
if they're two separate, if they're two separate clients, they can tune those weapons specifically to that client.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So. Very excited about that. I want to read a little bit. So if you didn't catch any of the Marathon stuff yesterday, it launched into an ARG. They shipped packages to streamers. Dr. Lupo got one. And it led through this whole ARG to a hidden YouTube channel that had to get 7,777 concurrent viewers. And then a Vidoc launched. It was a 7 or 8 minute Vidoc. It was really cool. It was Chris and Scott meeting with a lot of the core team members who've been working on this for a couple years. We kind of suspect that development probably started on this around the time work from home started. This game, they make it known very clear, this game is not even an alpha yet. Mm-hmm. It's not even an alpha. It is playable. We see Cosmo playing it in the footage, but that the game is not yet in alpha. They're going to go dark after the Vidoc comes out. They're not going to talk about Marathon until it's closer to release. The next time we hear from them, it'll be close to release, they say. So I would do not expect to hear anything for the next year on this game. I think part of that's also they want to give the respect to the Destiny team that they deserve to close out this saga with the final shape, coming up clearly, and next year is going to be the 10-year anniversary of the franchise. Like they want Destiny to have its time in the sun with this final expansion for D2. I want to read a little bit of what they note here in the TWAB. I didn't take notes down from the Vidoc. A lot of it's covered in the blog here. The name Marathon obviously conjures up visions of the original game from 1994, but this is something new. And Chris Barrett goes, yeah, finding the right balance is one of the most fun parts of development. We have a tremendous amount of respect for the original Marathon games. From the very start, we wanted to honor that, especially the mythology, story, and themes of the world. But our vision for the game is something new. It's not a direct sequel to the original, but something that certainly belongs in the universe, and it feels like a Bungie game. It's our aim to create something incredible, both for players who are completely new to Marathon and for those who have been waiting years for more stories in this universe. You don't need to know anything about Marathon to understand or play this game, but if you do, we've made the experience with references and deep cuts you'll recognize. You've mentioned Marathon will feel like a Bungie game. What does that mean? Chris says, there's many elements to what makes a Bungie game. To me, it runs the gamut from the incredible feel of the weapons to beautiful and evocative world building, rich in lore, immersion, and opportunities for incredible adventure. One of the areas that's a big focus for us is player-based storytelling. The original games revealed story moments through terminals, all in text, but now we have so many more ways to immerse players in this world, both in and out of game. We'll be carrying that through in the design of this game. The design philosophy here is to have players affect the story of the world through their choices and their actions. This approach also lets us shape the overall narrative direction of the game experience while giving players a direct sense of agency and power. There is no single player campaign, but it's a world of persistent, evolving zones where players create their own journey with every run they take. That might mean an unforgettable firefight against another crew vying for the same loot, or a last second extraction while beset on all sides. Beyond just the story of the last run, though, we want to give players a chance to affect these persistent zones and the larger world as a result. Imagine a crew discovering a previously undiscovered artifact that, when activated, opens a new area of the map for all players to explore. In essence, we're creating a game where the actions of players can have ramifications for the world and players with each unfolding season. That thrills me to hear. I actually really love that. That is taking the concept of, well, when Last Wish was beaten, the Curse of the Dreaming City started. This is that on steroids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think they're able to do that too because it's a smaller experience, right? Like,
it's a smaller experience, and you're not developing for hardware that was made in 2011.
Also true. I mean, technically, really, almost even before that, if you count Destiny 1 on Xbox 360. Oh my god!
Right.
Oh man. But yeah, I think that's so cool. Like, I think they're going to be able to do a lot with this experience, just in that respect.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do they say here that is interesting? Talk a little bit more about the storytelling. Extraction shooter brings to mind players dying, losing their stuff, tedious gear management, huge time investment to get back what was lost, and so on. How's the team approaching these kinds of issues with Marathon? This is something we think about on a regular basis. We want the game to have a sense of danger and tension. We want it to be thrilling and to always have the sense that this run is going to be unforgettable. At the same time, it's true that traditional extraction game tropes can be frustrating, especially for new players. One of the many ways we're addressing this is by making the core fantasy of survival and extraction fun, clear, and easy to understand. We want people to quickly understand fundamentals like healing or oxygen and how to organize gear. After all, if they lose those things if they get those things intuitively, there's much more room for tactical thinking and creativity. It's our job to create the fun and the fantasy, not the busy work and tedium. I can't talk too much about this right now, but there are so many ways to win in Marathon, and only some of them require getting out alive. In essence, we think there's an opportunity for players to still have fun, to be fulfilled and rewarded, even if they don't make it to an exfil. That's the other thing that's really exciting to me, because that's what's frustrated me about things like the Dark Zone for years, is that there's not a whole lot of story there, and it's just a place for teams to camp other players just to feel good about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the Tarkov streams. It's just not interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I can get behind, because this makes it sound like you still get to experience the story even if you can't make it to exfils, and that's exciting to me. That's very exciting to me.
Yeah.
Let's see what else do they say here. So my phone is ringing at the same time. I was trying to see who it was. Do you only fight other players in Marathon? The heart of the gameplay experience is PvP, but it isn't the entire story. There'll be ample opportunities for exploration and conflict, both against other players and AI-controlled enemies. That's fascinating to me also. Combine that with different objectives and motivations players will have for each run, as well as the narrative doors that can be unlocked as you discover things and accomplish tasks, and it creates this really rich palette of gameplay possibilities. Yeah, I am absolutely thrilled about this. Man, this is crazy. Chris can't even talk about like what his best Marathon run is so far, because or Scott can't talk about it either because it's so like under wraps right now. But I would suggest like just going through and reading this. But they definitely confirm that we're gonna have all this really cool anti cheat stuff, and you're like, oh, where is this for trials? It's so frustrating. Dealer wanted me to talk about PvP tonight. I did talk about PvP, but for Marathon. I'm checking I don't think there's anything for the Marathon site. For those who like want a little bit of background to the story, a massive ghost ship hangs in low orbit over a lost colony on Tau Ceti 4. The 30,000 souls who call this place home have disappeared without a trace. Strange signals hint at mysterious artifacts, long dormant AI, and troves of untold riches. You are a runner, venturing into the unknown in a fight for fame and infamy. Who among you will write their name across the stars? This is just a wacky fucking website that gives me a headache looking at it. But I would really encourage you guys to go and watch the Vidoc. They talk about it in there. They talk about some of the online goals that they have and whatnot. And they emphasize it pretty heavily that we are doing dedicated servers on this game. So that's pretty cool. There's no excuse for that not to be a thing especially in a cross-platform game. So very excited to see where this goes. Cue the Chancellor Palpatine meme. We will watch your career with great interest. Very excited. Kevin Yanes is working on this game. Of course, we talked about him a lot on the show. He's working on this, and I believe Tocom. I think Tocom is working on this also. Elliot Gray, who's done a lot of the UI designs for Destiny over the last decade, he is working on the UI for this game, I believe, as well. Just a lot of really talented people at Bungie that I followed for a long time are working on this. So it's, if nothing else, that's exciting.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm very, very, very excited for this. This is going to be cool. This is going to be a really cool game. I'm looking forward to seeing more. I don't suspect that we'll be talking about Marathon anymore the rest of the year. But can we reflect on the last thing I want to hit on real quick here? First off, Meta, you're going to look at this, you're going to be like, Meta? Yeah, Meta Multitool gets its name from the Marathon universe. Meta is one of the weapon foundries. But also, the Bungie store has Marathon shirts up, and these suckers are $77 a piece.
Yeah.
That's not a price error either. I actually added one to cart to see if that was just like a placeholder price. It's not. Because these are super limited shirts that are there for a week. And I was like, damn. Yeah. I understand that like 10% of this is going to charity. But let me tell you something. $80 for a t-shirt is too rich for my blood.
Yeah.
I've bought some expensive shit from Bungie over the years, but this is where I draw the line. I would love, and they make it clear, like, hey, these shirts are only available until June 1st, and we're never selling them again. They're going to be numbered, this and that. Okay, fine, whatever. I will gladly wait until you have generic Marathon shirts in the store. Hopefully, shortly after that for me to buy.
I want a black shirt with just like a neon yellow, like the
Marathon
Orb logo.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
That's all I want too. So that's slightly frustrating, but I get it. I get it, man. You're selling the hype. I've seen, they're like, if you buy all 4, you get 20% off, and there are, believe it or not, there are a lot of people who have already ordered multiple of these shirts.
Yeah,
which is I suspect that they're buying them to resell, but still.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. These shirts, like, they're cool, but like they're I mean,
there is no t-shirt that is $70 cool on the face of this earth. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No. Ugh, I hate it. Thanks, I hate it.
Yikes.
Any final thoughts on Marathon before we get out of here, Corey? Because we have a lot of Destiny we have to get to. We actually have a Destiny show tonight.
Yeah, I want to say that I think Marathon looks cool. I'm excited to see more. I'm glad they showed it off, but I want them to take as long as they need to make this game great, because Bungie makes great games, and it took Destiny a while to become great, and I don't want the same fate for Marathon. So
I don't think that players are going to be as patient now.
Yeah.
I think that we were understanding with Destiny because it was the first non-Microsoft game that most of us had played by them. It was kind of pioneering a new genre. Now I think we look at, okay, you're 10 years in on live experiences. You've always done PvP well. Like, you have 20 years of online PvP games under your belt, especially for somebody like Chris who worked on Halo 2. Like,
Right.
he's literally been at Bungie since Halo 2. So I think there's this expectation, and they got to manage that pretty carefully, I think.
Yeah.
So moving right along, though, we're gonna skip the TWAB for now. There's not a ton in the TWAB we really need to cover, but we're gonna shift to Season of the Deep.
Season of the Deep.
Season of the Deep, my friend.
Sloan is back.
Sloan is back. So first questions first. Have you been able to play the opening missions?
I did not play the opening mission, but I watched.
Okay. It's been a busy week for Corey. It's been a very busy week.
Yeah, not to get super personal, but like I went to the doctor this week and I started some new medication because of mental health reasons, and I just haven't had the energy to stay up late, and so that's kind of where I've been at, right? So but I did watch some stuff. I watched the opening mission today just to be ready for the show. I watched a lot of the story stuff that's been floating around. I know there's two kind of story elements going on at the same time. I think it all looks pretty cool. So yeah, I'm caught up in terms of knowing what's going on.
So yeah, this story is pretty wacky when it starts. Of course we get the opening cutscene like we mentioned with Joxer. Even though he's not explicitly confirmed as that, you got to go read some lore to find that out. I will pick that lore out. And we will read it next week is the plan. Marathon derailed that plan.
Yeah.
When you open it up, you're dropped on the Titan, and it's not just you. In other various places on Titan, Saint 14 and Saladin are dropped in. You're all checking different locations. You're of course in the old patrol area. Is where you are essentially. You're fighting your way through. You're trying to get the comms working, this and that, and then the derelict shows up in orbit, and Zavala's like, "What the hell?" Because Zavala's there also, and he's like, "What the hell?" And Drifter beams you aboard the derelict, gives you this basically rebreather, and you're able to jump into the water. You have this horrifying scene of like the glass on your helmet shattering and you almost drowning before he pulls you out. And then you go back in, you're able to get down to where Sloan is, and you meet the Leviathan right away.
Yeah.
Asha. You meet her right away, and you see that Sloan she's taken. Her arm and her legs are taken. She later explains this, basically, and it's revealed through some of the lore that we can already get on day one, that essentially what happened was she had to bond with a taken essence to save her life. Her power armor got destroyed. It was slowing her down too much. This was the only way she could stay alive, was by bonding with the taken. And that's what caused the Leviathan so long to trust her, because it was really leery of her being like one of them, essentially. And we also get the explicit confirmation that Xivu Arath is here fucking around.
Yeah, she's...
Xivu, this is the first time we've heard her speak, and it is fucking terrifying.
It's like, you think of the first time we heard Deborah Wilson talk as Savathun, how like eerie and creepy. No, this is terrifying.
Yeah, it makes Oryx just grunting at us even more funny now. Oryx couldn't figure out his words, but his sisters can. We had the budget to let them talk, essentially. But I think it's very funny that like him and Crota didn't talk at all, but these two are like yelling at us. Xivu, just like in the lore, everything is in caps. Even her subtitles are in caps here, which I found really funny. Not like everyone else, where it's properly formatted. So they really kept with it, but it is really like she's yelling at you. But she's taunting everyone who's there. She's taunting Saint especially. She's like she's bad mouthing Sagira and everything, and then she was like, Osiris wasn't worthy. Will you have a more worthy? She's like, Osiris wasn't worthy, so I left him alive. Will you be a worthy sacrifice? And you hear Saint just like yell and like do like a battle cry, and like his comms cut off, and everyone's like, Saint, are you okay? Yeah, she's a real bitch.
Yeah.
She's taunting you through the deep dive activity and through the salvage missions. But you're doing that, and I think these missions are really cool. You are underwater, you're hitting the air bubbles as you go down. All that's playing in my mind is the Sonic the Hedgehog music.
I know.
Uh,
I thought about that today too.
that's like all that's going through my mind when I'm doing that. But it was making me laugh really hard when Ray was making the noises while we were playing the first couple missions together.
That doesn't
Um,
surprise me. It sounds like him.
this is just really, I think the aesthetic of this season is really cool and really well done. We obviously have the deep dive missions. We have Titan back. We have the salvage missions, and the salvage missions like seem to change every time you do them too. I've had like 4
Yeah.
different variants of salvage already,
Yeah.
just in the first week. So it's exciting to see those. Um, the underwater sections I think look really cool. You don't have any guns. So there's no combat down there. You don't have to worry about like fighting anything off in the water, thankfully. Um, I think all of that's really, really well done. I like the feel of the season, and I admire Bungie for trying something new.
Mhm.
The last time they tried something new was the pirate season, and it didn't really land. But I like this. I don't know if I'm going to still like it in 3 months or if I'm going to burn myself out. But I think right now this is nicer. It's a very story heavy season, but it also feels like a pretty laid back season at the same time. Like there's no power level increase. There's 6 weeks of story. There is a new dungeon dropping less than 12 hours from now. Um, I think those are all things to celebrate. We're going to get into the Neomuna quest here in a few minutes, but I get initial impressions. I really like the vibe. I really like the feel. The taken weapons are really cool. I did not expect us to get Gambit Prime and taken weapons. And it's important to note those that so there's a pulse, but then there's the Gambit Prime pulse or the Reckoning pulse,
Mhm.
excuse me. And like a lot of these have different elements and like different firing rates, different frames, etc. Already pretty quickly we're finding out that there's a few weapons that we like more than others. I may need to get Johnny in here with me, especially after the dungeon comes out, so that we can break down the full suite. Um, Other highlights of the season for me so far, I'm really enjoying. I like that Randy's throwing knife is back in PvP. Already got a really fun role on that. Of course, I loved Randy's back when Shadowkeep came out,
Mhm.
and was bummed that was one of the only weapons post Shadowkeep that actually got sunset because it was in that first season. It was in Undying. Really fun gun though. It's a great 260 scout. Really encourage everybody to go get a good roll. I'm sure everybody's going to get one. Um, just so much heavy story stuff right off the bat. So much.
Yeah.
Um, it's really great. It's going to be a really dense season. And then on top of that, there is a fishing mini game now.
I know.
It's a,
Fish.
it's a true MMO. It's
Did
a
you
true
see
MMO.
my tweet
I did
earlier?
not.
Oh, I said I said Destiny's officially a JRPG now. They were purchased by a Japanese company and there's now fishing.
Pretty much. I think it was Aaron in the Discord said that he was like, I spent years of my life fishing in World of Warcraft. I'm not doing it in Destiny also. I think this is I think this is really fun. Fishing is kind of goofy. It's just a little mini game. You cast your line and you hit X when it pops up to catch your fish, and it'll be green, blue, purple, or exotic. And if anybody in your instance catches an exotic fish, you get credit for it as long
Nice.
as you're at the fishing pond. So some rando caught it earlier, and I got the achievement, which was really cool.
Cool.
You can release the fish into a fish tank on the helm, though, and you get rewards from that. But also, you get to watch your fish swim around, and there are artifacts corresponding to what seasons you've played since the not Witch Queen, but since Beyond Light. There are artifacts in there. So, like the Hammer of Proving is in there.
Oh, wow.
The spear from Risen, the Callus bobbleheads. So I collected all the bobbleheads last year in Haunted. There is a Callus bobblehead in there now, in addition
That's
to
awesome.
the Bell of Proving, or the
That's
bell from the
awesome.
Duality Dungeon is in there.
Yeah.
The Wayfinder compass is in there. There's just a whole bunch of seasonal artifacts in there. The Splicer, I had the Splicer Gauntlet in mine also.
That's
There's
cool.
one of Rasputin's little escalation protocol nodes that you could go find last season. All that's in there, and it's really cool. And there's other things you can find throughout the world, and for like doing certain achievements and doing certain things in deep dives that'll add to your tank. I think that's all really cool.
Mhm.
That's just like a little thing, like, oh, well, you can keep chasing it. Listen, you better keep my aquarium in there next year, Bungie. I'm doing all this work for my fish. Fishing needs to stay. I think it's It's just a wildly popular thing at this point. I'd be shocked if they took it out.
This is
Um,
the first step, Josh, of them giving us our ship to decorate in Destiny 3. This is the first step.
oh, dude, I didn't even consider that. I hope so.
This is the first step. Oh man.
This is the first step. My door just unlocked. That was weird.
Oh. Am I about to witness an attack on you, Josh? I hope not. I'm not prepared for that.
No, the stupid panel in here triggers like the slightest noise on the door.
Hmm.
So I don't know. Yeah, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here.
Great. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Wait, we could start back.
Okay. Cool. We're back.
But yeah,
No
beyond
burglary.
the no burglary. I'm still alive. Beyond the beyond the beginning of season of the there's a lot of story implications there. Really encourage you to go play the story. There's like 3 missions to go do. And the fishing of it all. We also got the long-awaited Neomuna quest that we were told about a couple months ago. That the quest on Neomuna leads us back to the Veil containment chamber, and after a very annoying fight with a imprint of Nezarec there, that tormentor, God, that fucking tormentor, man, it's basically the Callus fight, but with a giant tormentor is exactly what it is. And his attacks chase you around the arena too. It's very easy in a group of 2, but with one, I can definitely see how it would be. It was absolutely frustrating for me.
Yeah.
You basically just have to burn him down as quickly as you can. It was very frustrating. It does put you into the Thunderdome when you get him down like halfway. So you're like, what the fuck, man? It's literally the Callus fight again. It's so annoying. But you get that done, and one of the revelations. This is basically going to be kind of like the preservation mission we had in the Witch Queen, where we kept going back into Rolk's Pyramid for a story over a few weeks. You kind of get the sense you're going to be doing that here, because when you finish it, Osiris is like, okay, I need time to decrypt the data that you gave me. It's going to take me several days to do it, blah, blah, blah. But among the revelations you get is from an audio log left by Maya Sundaresh. That's a name that we've been hearing since Destiny 1, part of the Ishtar Collective on Venus, and one of the founders of Neomuna. Her wife leaves a message, and as Osiris is decrypting it, him and Nimbus are talking, and they go, well, the Veil wasn't here. The Veil did not originate on Neptune. They reveal that Savathun stole the Veil from the Witness. Savathun stole it because Nimbus brings up some of what Nezarec says during the Hypernet current strike. When you hear him for the first time, talks about the witch's betrayal. They explicitly confirm, like, yeah, so Savathun definitely brought the Veil, stole the Veil, and chose to hide it away on Neptune. So that's kind of wild. We're gonna follow this storyline over the next couple of weeks because there's a lot there. I'd also encourage everybody to read the hand cannon lore that's there. There's some. I don't know if it's on the hand cannon, but it's on a weapon or a piece of armor this season. Satan Osiris start throwing strays at Brother Vance, and it's really funny. Yeah, they mentioned Brother Vance, and Osiris is like, who? And Saint's like, never mind. Maybe it's better if you don't remember him.
That's so funny though, because Brother Vance.
Osiris talks in the mission though a little bit about how his memories and Savathun's kind of overlap now, but like, so he has a lot of her memories, and he's like, I'm not exactly thrilled about this, but it may be the key to helping us understand a lot of stuff. It very much feels like this is the beginning of like the resurrection of Savathun arc. If they're already saying this in week 1 of the Veil storyline, which they don't explicitly confirm that we're going to get more, but come on, we're going to get more. I'm interested to see where this storyline goes in the coming weeks, to see if they give us more there, or if this is just like a mission that you can repeat for a pinnacle each week, which it may very well may be. We know you can repeat it for the hand cannon at least once a week, so that's cool. Interested to see where this goes.
Yeah.
because I do feel like we're building the resurrection of Savathûn, especially with this season being all Taken and Hive. I feel like, and with Zevo Wrath playing such a big part, I feel like it very much becomes, and Osiris even says this, essentially like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I'm a little curious to see what happens here. I hope that this is the beginning of that storyline, but this very much, this and Deep together kind of feel like, boom, we're ready. Like, we're ready to go. This is the true, like, we're leading off to the final shape here.
Yep.
This is the true march towards it. And I think that having to get some of this information in there is likely why they split it into 2 games, even if that meant Lightfall being lackluster. I saw people saying like, well, if this information was in there, if like this was in there, or like some of the Season of the Deep stuff we've already found out was in there, then Lightfall would have just been better. And I'm like, well, then we would have been complaining that it was bloated and it left off at a weird place, which it did anyways. But this also just, I think, emphasizes that Callus was fucking stupid.
Oh God, yeah.
Callus is fucking stupid. Like, the more that we sit here and look at this, we're like, damn, he was really dumb. Just Jesus, man. Like, you could just tell, like, the witness was just so annoyed. I love the still of him being so annoyed with Callus. Yeah. Like, oh, look at these idiots who work with it's anybody who's ever been a supervisor at their job understands the feeling that the witness has towards Callus.
Oh yeah, so funny.
It's delightful. It's great. I'm enjoying the start to the season so far. Of course, the dungeon launches tomorrow, which I believe we got the name for it this week. I'm looking through the TWAB real fast, but I think that we got the name of it confirmed.
Yeah, I feel like we did too.
I feel like we did. I feel like I saw it somewhere, and it's really bothering me that I don't see it.
Let me hold on. I'm trying to,
there we go. I found it. The new dungeon, Ghosts of the Deep.
Yeah, there you go.
Arrives tomorrow. So that's pretty much explicit confirmation that takes place on Titan, like we suspected. You'll probably have to jump through air bubbles or do an air bubble puzzle at some point. I kind of poo-pooed this idea yesterday to Johnny and a few others, and sorry for that, because I was probably wrong. Cool. Happy that that'll let Titan stick around in some capacity after this year is over. And this definitely like seems to echo the shift that I was asking for with dungeons. Like, I want it to be more impactful to the overall storyline.
Yeah.
Like, I think that duality was really important because it lets us like kind of understand some of Callus's motivations and his feelings towards Cayde. I think duality was really important for that. Similarly, I think that when you take a look at Spyro the Watcher, that was important to understand Osiris's visions for Neamun. That like, oh, okay, well, we established in the dungeon that people are doubting him. With the information we get from this, verifies what he knows, that and gives validity to his information that he gleaned from when Savathûn had his mind taken over. We're not in the era of like prophecy anymore, where like you really got to dig deep to figure out what the storyline is here.
Yeah.
This kind of harkens back to like how important that the Shattered Throne ultimately was.
Yeah.
So that makes all that to say, that makes me really excited. I really hope this has an overarching place, because I mean, after this we've only got one dungeon before the final shape.
Yeah.
Which will be out in December. We get the final dungeon and the final shape. This is really like one of 2 pieces of brand new endgame content we're getting between now and then, barring a new exotic mission, of course. If we get something like Operation Seraph Shield that ties into the story, obviously, cool. But this is really the last thing that we're going to get. One of the last things we're going to get. So I think you really have to like hit home with that story, especially if this is part of the reason that you decided to split it into 2. The expectations are raised here. Like, when it comes to it, when we hear about a new dungeon, we're like, oh damn, like, okay, I almost get more excited for dungeons than raids right now, because I like the idea of a 3-man activity and it being challenging and this and that. So there's that this weekend. Trials of Osiris is going live tomorrow as well. By the time you're listening to this, Trials of Osiris will be getting ready to go live. And then the first Iron Banner of the season starts on May 30th.
Yeah, that's close.
I'm actually
It's
really
crazy.
excited. That's next Tuesday. That's next reset. I'm
Yeah.
actually kind of happy for this, that I can get in just a little bit, not much, but I can get in a little bit of Iron Banner before Diablo 4 comes out and just consumes me.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna lose you for a while when Diablo comes out, to be honest with you.
Man, I'm maybe 50% of the way through Tears of the Kingdom's main storyline, and I was hoping to have it wrapped by the time that Diablo came out, but it's pretty clear I'll be lucky to finish it by the time Final Fantasy comes out. I'm slowing up. I'm going to take my time with this. I'm going to savor it. I'm also just having a really hard time with it at times, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, Grandmasters are. I'm reading out of the Twilight right now since we're already here. Grandmasters are going to start early this season. June 13th is when Grandmasters unlock because there's no power
Ooh.
cap increase. So why not put it out there?
Right.
And then Solstice will be back on July 18th. Um, Sounds like Solstice will probably be around for a full month because the reveal doesn't happen until August 22nd, which will be the next season launch date, obviously.
Right.
That's pretty exciting. I'm kind of here for it, man. I think that this is some interesting stuff. I really like how they're just pumping all of that out there.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they're doing a good I think they're doing a good thing. I think this season kind of has the potential to kind of almost make up for, you know, kind of this last season. Not that the season was bad, but it just definitely wasn't up to snuff compared to the seasons from the last couple expansions, right? Like, just oh man,
So for me, it's weird. I come down in a weird place for Defiance. I think that, and we never really shared our full thoughts on it. We kind of scattered them throughout the season. One thing I'll say about Defiance is, and I think it's going to get a bad rap. I think a lot of people have in like their bottom like 5 seasons. I mean, honestly, like you look at the seasons that are above it, and just off the top of my head, I've got Chosen, Splicer, Arrivals, um, Risen, Seraph,
hmm
Dawn. That's probably about it. So it's like kind of in the middle. That's pretty great company, I think, to be like directly behind. But you're still
yeah,
above things like Undying, Worthy. I mean, God, remember when you're above Hunt, you're above
God,
Plunder, you're above Haunted.
dude,
Remember when we used to
mm,
launch with things like Undying or
oh,
Hunt, and
dude,
then
season of the hunt was awful, dude. It was so
it's funny because Hunt and Haunted, like we're like, man, those are bad, but the narrative was still really good. Just the activities were so bad, and that's what we
yeah.
remember out of it. Like
hmm
Haunted had some of the best lore and some of the best cutscenes we've ever gotten,
I mean,
especially
so
for
did
so.
Hunt. I mean, so did Hunt,
I mean,
right?
Hunt,
I
yeah,
mean,
Hunt brought Crow in.
yeah,
Hunt brought Crow in. Um, but I mean, now with us being so close to the final shape, I feel like you have to have nothing but bangers. And like Defiance, I think was good, but it was such a radical whiplash from the tone of the campaign, which definitely felt like, even though like, oh, the apocalypse is here, like, let's make it bright and bright and fun. And Defiance is like, nah, we're liberating prison camps today, bitch.
right.
Um, it's we've been jokingly calling the salvage activity labor simulator 2023, because it pretty much is. You're
No,
running around with wrenches and bolts.
yeah.
But I think that when we take chances like this in Destiny, that's when it's at its best. Like doing the battlegrounds back in Chosen was a risky idea for them, but it
hmm
hit so good, and I'm so glad. Like we got three out of the last 5 seasons had battlegrounds in them. You had the
hmm
psyops ones in Risen, you had the ones in Seraph, and then you had ones last season. And I'm just like, okay, can we put battlegrounds on hold until after the final shape now? Can we please do
Yeah,
that? I understand that
yeah.
that's kind of your replacement for strikes, especially with bringing these into the Nightfall playlist and in the Grandmasters and whatnot. But can we please stop? Because one, I mean, it's great. That's a way that to make sure that the storyline stays in after you've removed the season. But
hmm
can we stop? Because it's really, really aggravating to have those as your continuous mission. And it's like, oh, I hate playing these with randos. I don't always have a team on. Sometimes I just want an arena mode. And it's funny because we used to do the exact opposite. God damn it, stop giving us arenas. Give us some actual missions.
Yeah.
And I feel like last season they kind of struck it okay. You had 3 regular story missions with 3 battlegrounds, and I felt like that was a decent balance. We got a lot of that in Seraph. You had Seraph Shield on top of the battlegrounds and on top of the story missions that you were doing. Um, I think that all of that combined is good, but there's a limit. You can't use that same one every season. They said this season was going to be a bit different with some of the changes. And one of the changes I'm really digging is how you unlock the vendor upgrades. They are
Mm-hmm.
all, well, most of them are attainable from day one. I've already unlocked like 4 or 5 of them out of 10, but they are a separate tab on the challenges list. You have your seasonal challenges, you have legacy challenges, but right in the middle you have your vendor upgrades essentially for the sonar station. I love this. I absolutely love this. I think this is a great idea. Never ever change from this. You can unlock them as quickly as you want. They give you XP on top of that, I believe. Um, but that's how you unlock like your deep site focusing, your deep site resonance. You know exactly what you need to do to be able to get those. And a lot of times it's just go play the fucking activity.
Right.
You know, there's a couple of them that, yeah, you're gonna have to work at them. Like you can't get to all of them right away. You know, you're gonna have to wait until we can get down to the depths, probably like week 3 or something, and get down into the abyss, quote unquote. Or maybe, you know, the dungeon will qualify for that. I don't know, but you know, like one of them is do 2 public events and catch 50 fish. That's one of your challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Like things like that, I think like that you're doing organically already and you're getting rewarded for it is the best. Like I've already got weapon focusing. I'm 1 armor piece away from getting armor focusing right now already, and we're 2 days in. That's great. And I haven't even played very much. I've played maybe 3 hours total, 3-4 hours total since the season came out, and I've already got those, and I've got so many challenges without even thinking about them. Like this is what, when we talk about seasons needed a revamp, this is a very, very good quality of life change.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more changes like this. And I know that the
Yeah.
last season of the year is supposed to be a big quality of life change season leading into, you know, revamping core playlists and stuff leading into final shape. And they've said, you know, we're gonna take our foot off the gas a little bit. Like I wouldn't expect a lot of content. But if it's changes like this that to make the game ultimately better in the long run, I'll gladly take them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Instead of having to remember to run and talk to somebody, I can literally do it from my menu.
Right. Yeah.
Which I really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
So, you know, all that aside, I'm looking forward to playing with more of these taken weapons. They just have the coolest aesthetic. This makes me really hope between this and Sloan that there will be some kind of like taken shader eventually that we can earn. I know they've
Yeah.
said in the past like we don't have it because it's really, really hard. For It's really hard for us to get that animated, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hoping that just like maybe, I mean, and hey, maybe it has to wait until you're purely on current gen and then you can do it. I have no idea, but
Yeah.
if you've held it this long, you can hold it a little bit longer. I really hope that this is reviving the dream of getting that taken shader that everybody wants so badly. That can't be a limited thing to a season either.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it being locked behind a dungeon though.
Yeah, I could totally see
I could see
like,
it being like for the master dungeon. I could see
you
this
think
being
it would
that.
be a shader? You think they would like, you think
Yeah.
that's too hard for them and they would just
Oh
be a
well, and actually, it might be. It may
armor
just.
set.
It probably would be an armor set. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But they're
Which
gonna have to
I
take.
wouldn't mind either, but
They're gonna have to take so much care in the armor set when they do it.
yeah. Plus, like, I mean, they could, they could revolve a whole season around like, you know, you can get 2 or 3 taken armor sets, so it doesn't. Not everybody's just wearing the same one, too, right? Like, you could sell one in Eververse. You could make one a dungeon. Maybe it's a seasonal armor
I
set.
guess.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like, you could do different things to make. You know, I know people want to put the shader on a bunch of different types of armor, but man, that's going to be so rough to do.
Yeah, and I imagine that's part of it. Is there's infinitely more armor combinations, and they're much more intricate than Destiny 1 was.
Yeah.
I can't imagine trying to make it work with like for example, the PlayStation armor sets that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, the Titan gets
Man,
shafted again.
John, there we go. I told you he was going to say it. John and I were joking about this when we saw these revealed on on Monday and Tuesday. We were like, "Oh, Corey's going to say this is the Titans got shafted." I disagree. I do think it's the least impressive of the 3, but I think you were far from shafted. John has this set in game, and it looks really good in game. I think I really like it.
All right,
The promo art did not do it enough justice for me.
No. I do think the Hunter and the Warlock sets are top tier, though.
Oh, they're definitely top tier. They're absolutely better, but I don't think that the Titan is any. What I wish they would have done with the Titan one is like maybe have like the gauntlets broken to where you see like your Guardian's forearms, and like maybe there's like part of the chest piece was like, and I know it's kind of hard to do since we have like female and male characters. Like maybe there's like the armor is broken in like different places depending on like what
Mhm.
gender you're playing.
Yeah.
I think that could have been really cool, or like maybe it's like the leg guards are totally destroyed from like the knees down.
Yeah.
I think there could have been some really cool stuff here. I do think you could have made this better. I would have loved for the helmet to have been like cracked in half, like like maybe like you have the white on one side, and then on the other side where the red stripe is, like that's broken, and you could see your guardian's face, but with the scar is holographic.
Yeah.
That I think there could have been some really cool things, and I'm backseat game developing. I don't know how difficult that would be. I think that would have made that set on par with the Hunter and Warlocks
Mhm.
personally.
Yeah. I actually was like, when I saw this and noticed that it was God of War, I actually like in God of War 2, the PS2 God of War 2, like
Mm-hmm.
when you start out with like the God Greek armor, I actually think that set could
Yeah,
have been
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Just to
That
like
could have been
tie it in.
cool. Yeah, that could have been really cool.
Mhm.
Or like the armor. I think what was it in Ascension?
Yeah.
Where you have like a full set of armor. I think that could have been really cool.
Yeah.
Um, Hunters being Aloy makes a lot of sense, even if I griped about this and was like, damn, this is another collaboration where we did not get the real assassin class.
Yeah. I almost wish they would have done like if they're gonna do these PlayStation tie-ins, like each season would have had a different game featured for all three classes at this point.
I think that would have been really challenging for some of these, though. Like, I don't think that God of War sets would have made a ton of sense for, well, I guess like you could have made it work for Hunters and Warlocks. Hunters would have had to be like Atreus themed, and Warlocks would have had
Mm-hmm.
to be like Freya.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think with Ghost of Tsushima, it would have been rough. I think that especially Horizon would have been rough on the other two classes. Um, I don't know. My pitch was always give the Warlocks Bloodborne, but I don't know how you would have worked that out with FromSoft.
Well, Sony
Um,
owns the IP though.
they do, but I mean they really just published it. Like you would still have to get FromSoft's permission. 100. They're not going to risk damaging that relationship.
Yeah.
I do like these sets though. I'm 100% going to cop the Hunter and Warlock sets though. Like the
I might get the
Warlock being
Warlock
Ghost of
sets.
Tsushima is really really cool.
Oh,
The
dude,
katana especially.
the Warlock won this armor set. This that armor set's so cool.
You missed a golden opportunity to give the hunters the assassin robes from Assassin's Creed. Now we don't get the Ghost of Tsushima set. I get it. I get it. I'm annoyed. We were already speculating in the Discord about if they did a wave 2, what would it be? And my pitch was 100% give Warlocks Bloodborne, give Titans, give them like the robot Ratchet from Ratchet and Clank. That could be
Mm,
really cool, especially with the helmet design. I think that could be awesome. Hunters,
yeah.
I have no idea what you fucking do at that point. Like fucking Ape Escape or something. I don't know.
Oh God.
Um, it's gonna be Pedro Pascal from the Last of Us TV show.
What if there's a
Speak.
Spider-Man tie-in?
Oh, listen, I'm fucking checking out at this point. This was my biggest gripe when this was revealed. Like, I think that these armor sets look cool, sure, not denying that. I don't like all the crossovers. In less than a year, we have now had Fortnite, Fall Guys, Among Us, Assassin's Creed, and PlayStation. I'm in less than a year. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really getting annoyed by this. I really like let the brand tie-ins die until post final shape, please. This would
Yeah.
be fun stuff to put out there between final shape and whatever comes next, I think.
Yeah.
But more than that, you cannot. These sets will not be up for Bright Dust, as far as I can tell. This whole season, they will be silver only,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
is another shift because I don't remember the last time we had a set that was silver only and you couldn't buy any pieces. I guess the Assassin's Creed set, because even the Fortnite one you could get through Dust.
Yeah.
That's just kind of aggravating for me.
Yeah. It's kind of annoying
That's
for
definitely a
sure.
Sony decision there. Like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Boo, don't have fun. We have a question about these armor sets, actually.
Yeah,
Um,
question.
yeah, questions. Yellow Kuru. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry if I butchered it. Writes in and goes,
Correct
y'all
us.
might cover it in the pod, but what's your thoughts on the weirdly high prices for the PlayStation crossover stuff? In my opinion, it seems high. Hail Hydra Fool also agreed with it. I like them, but I saw the price tag and went, nope. This is, I believe they're $15 worth of silver.
Isn't that what they normally are?
That's what I was gonna say. I'm pretty sure that that's standard.
Yeah.
I may be wrong. I'm actually gonna do a fact check on this while we're talking, but I believe that uh that's the same price that they've always been for these
Yeah.
armor sets.
Yeah.
Maybe like the ship and stuff are pretty expensive, but I do believe that it's about what we see. Bungie changed some stuff in the back end that I'm not really thrilled about, which means we can no longer see data miners can no longer see what week certain things are going to be sold for dust. They can only
Mhm.
see if it's going to be sold for dust at some point in the season, and that's really
Yeah.
just aggravating.
Yeah, I saw that.
I hate that. Let me
Well,
find.
that's because you like to plan out when you're buying stuff for
Oh,
price.
okay. So I was wrong on this. The silver is 2,000. It is $20 for this armor set
Oh,
a
gross.
piece.
Oh,
Yes.
that's gross.
The that's
$20? Jesus
oh
Christ.
Corey, it gets worse. The Last of
Shocker.
Us cosmetics set with the Ghost, the Ship, and the Sparrow is 2,800.
$30? Are you kidding me?
Each finisher, and I will say all three of these finishers are dope as hell.
Yeah.
You got the God of War Chaos Blades, you've got the Ghost of Tsushima Katana, and you've got Aloy's bow as finishers. They're all awesome. They're all 1,000 silver a piece, like they usually are. Um, but yeah, compared to, for example, the non-PlayStation bundles of like a ship sparrow and a ghost is 2,200 silver compared. That's still highway robbery, but it's
Yeah.
$6 less.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, completely and totally agree here. I think this is ridiculous,
Yeah, that's rough, man. That's
especially for it not being up for silver at any point. I think it's really silly.
right. Man, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow.
That's a very tough pill to swallow. I don't like that at all. I'm very very bothered.
Yeah.
I'm very bothered by that. Um, Man, especially when you compare it, like an exotic ornament can range anywhere from 700 to 1,000
Yeah.
um silver. That's just, man. The Ratchet and Clank emote that's in the shop is going to be 1,200 silver.
Mm.
Yeah. Um what's kind of crazy is so you can buy the Last of Us cosmetics separately. The Clicker Ghost shell is going to be 800 silver. The Sparrow is going to be 1,000, and the ship is 1,000. And then
All right.
on top of that, compounding my woes, I missed a bundle last season in the shop apparently that was silver only, that came with a ornament for bad juju and came with a shader that was only in that bundle. They are continuing that trend with three shaders that are tied to three ornament bundles. So it's 1,100 for each. So I will be passing on three ornaments, or on three ornaments and three shaders, because
For what are the ornaments for?
God, I gotta find them again.
Sorry, I just gotta flip open.
There is
Yeah.
one for, so there's an ornament called the Mara multi-tool, so for Mita. And then there is one for Quicksilver Storm and one for Sunshot.
Oh, I saw these. Okay.
Yeah, the Quicksilver one looks awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very surprised that the uh, community voted on ornament is going to be up for dust this season. I'm actually shocked by that.
Yeah, that seems like it should be.
Also, it's only 700 silver. That is shocking to me. I thought if anything was going to be price gouged, it was going to be this.
Yeah, because don't they want to like pay the creator or something?
They
Like,
already
don't
did.
they want to?
They said they
Yeah.
already did. Yeah. I thought for sure that this would be, we'd be doing, be paying out more here. Okay, I mean, I'll take it. But I guess what's going to really annoy me is if we go into next season and the PlayStation armor shows up for dust, then I'm going to be really annoyed. Because
Yeah.
I think 2000 silver is too much. I do think that's too much. I feel like that is a Sony decision. I don't know if that's necessarily a Bungie one. I do think that the Fortnite armor was just as expensive, though. I think I remember the Fortnite set being that pricey.
I don't remember it being that expensive because I bought the Titan and the Warlock set because I think they were cheaper. I was like, because I was going in only planning to buy one, and I was like, oh well, I could probably get
I mean,
both.
I very well could be wrong, but I could have sworn I remembered it being more expensive. I'm looking through fast.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
I'm looking quickly in the shop archive here. I don't remember what it was.
1,500 silver.
1,500 silver. Okay, I was wrong.
This is directly from the Epic blog.
That's funny because I'm definitely looking at it. I'm looking at it through the Databine that I look at, and yeah, it says it's 2,000 here for the Kitsune Warlock bundle. I don't know. Either way, there has been another. And the Assassin's Creed set was also 2,000 apiece.
Yeah, I mean that's understandable too.
So, that's another thing I don't like. If this is a way to charge more silver, I don't like it. Yeah. I'm really bothered by that, actually. God, I'm so annoyed. I think actually the 1,500 may have been the price for that season. It may have been introductory and then gone up.
Yeah,
because I remember I bought all mine through Dust.
Yeah,
that's kind of the wild thing. Like that's up for Dust, but stuff that's owned by the same company can't be up for Dust. Something doesn't make sense there.
I wonder if that was like a hey, it's on the Epic store, and this weekend it's 25% off or something. Because this
might have been.
This blog post definitely says 1,500, but then there's things down here that say 2,000. So I wonder.
It might have been an introductory price just because it was the Epic partnership starting.
Yeah. Okay.
I cannot get over 2,000. 2,000 is rough. Dude. That's rough. They're really cool cosmetics, I think, but man,
yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow, man.
That's a really tough pill for me to swallow personally. I'll be waiting because I mean they're not going to leave the shop, so I can't buy them for Dust anyways this season. I'm gonna have to pay the silver eventually anyways. So guess I'll just wait. I do think that the Hunter set is really cool. I do want to get it, but not for $20.
Yeah.
So yeah, totally agree with you guys. I think it's overpriced. We gotta look to see what else we have here in the TWAB since we've been like kind of picking at the bones here.
It's been
Guardian ranks did reset. You did lose your Guardian ranks. It's still remember the number that is there is the highest you got last season. The only ranks that are reset are the seasonal Guardian rank objectives, the ones in blue. Because guess what? The others are totally fine. Your highest rank for the previous season is what will be displayed for the next season. So I saw a lot of people like freaking out, being like, I got all the way to 11 and it's gone now. And like, I'm not going to grind this out again. Like, I kind of tried to tell you guys from the beginning, but nobody listens. The seasonal title is Aquanaut, which I think is pretty cool. I actually really like the design of the seal. I think it's really fun. God, we actually really don't have anything else. There's really nothing else in the TWAB.
But I mean, they had those big reveals that we talked about, so it wasn't like it doesn't.
They did. Yeah, it's not like it was a nothing week. It's been an actually very busy week, and then combined with the story, and like I want to use next week to talk some loot, see what the trials weapon is this weekend. Is it going to be Messenger or is it going to be the Glaive? Because if it's the Glaive, God, I'm going to have to go play trials while trying to balance a lot of other stuff I got to do this weekend, and it is a holiday weekend on top of that, so. Corey, let's head to some questions. We've got a few more questions that we haven't answered throughout the course of all of this. Jiggly Panda writes in and says, asks, she's got a couple, or I should not assume, they have got a couple questions for us. Would you guys ever consider doing a live episode of Tower Casuals? Yes, we have talked about it before. It is
Mhm.
very hard to do considering Corey and I live on opposite ends of the country.
Yeah.
I do not have the money for a plane ticket currently, so
Yeah, so it's funny. I've actually been like thinking about doing something like that eventually for not just Tower Casuals but everything.
mhm,
And like my thought would be like Tower Casuals would be the opening for like like my Boss Rush podcast live thing.
mhm.
And so like both shows would go at the same time, like, and my mom's cousin works at the library, and the Akron library is like the perfect venue for this. And because seats like 200 people, and the stage is big enough, and it's super cool, and like I'd be like, man, that'd be so cool. But then like everybody would have to come to me, and I live like 10 minutes from there, and that's not very fair either. So
We've kicked around, like, in terms of doing a live show, we did used to do them on Twitch, and we didn't feel like
yeah,
the viewership was really there, and I agree. We might do something down the
mhm,
line. I may see if we can maybe get a stream going for maybe the final shape reveal at the end of the
yeah,
summer.
yeah,
I would want to do it for a milestone episode. If we ever did something live, it would be for a milestone.
yeah, like
Um,
200 we will,
yeah,
right?
Corey, and Nerd, and Joe and I have talked about it before.
Mhm,
Because all three of them are not super far from each other, and I at that point I would just book a plane ticket and fly up for a
yeah,
weekend.
yeah,
We have talked about doing it before. Nothing explicitly to say now, but it is on the radar. It is something that we would really like to do down the line.
hmm, yeah.
Uh, Jiggly Panda also asks, this question is for Corey. What advice would you give when somebody possibly wants to start their own podcast?
Just do it. Like just like it's funny because my cousin just asked me the same question the other day. Uh, just start one. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where like you want to do it. You just want to sit down and talk. And uh, here are the things that I learned over the course of a decade that Josh and I have kind of been doing this, with and without each other. Right? Is like your first 10 to 20 episodes are going to suck. Your numbers aren't going to hit anywhere where you want them to be until maybe you're a year and a half in. Like
Everyone
it's
starts somewhere.
yeah, and that's all I can say is just start somewhere. Even if you can't afford a microphone or don't have a webcam or a computer to plug into, there's plenty of apps now on phones that I wish maybe I could have used way back when I started, right? Where, Riverside FM has a very decent phone app where you can just plug in some generic iPhone earbuds or, whatever phone you have. Like it works great. My advice is if you want to start a podcast, just start a podcast. And Anchor, or it's called Spotify for podcasters now, but Anchor.fm is a free podcasting host. You can distribute your podcasts from there. That's what we did here. And my advice would be just find someone who you think may want to do it with you. Unless you want to do a solo show, that's cool too, right? Like, I mean, solo shows, all kinds of solo shows exist, right? But just start, just do it, and your show's going to change 3 or 4 times over the course of the first 20 to 30 episodes, right? Like it's
At least.
this show has changed,
This show changed like 5 episodes in. So yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And we took
So
another shift after Beyond Light. So
yeah. So I mean, my advice is if you want to do a podcast, just start and set yourself some parameters. Right, make a run of show doc if you really feel like you need one. Like have some notes, some points that you want to hit on. Give yourself a time frame of like, okay, I want to do a 30 to 45-minute podcast. Guess what? Your podcast will go over that time limit. So prepare for that too. Right. Josh, remember when we said the show is only going to be a half hour?
oh my
maybe
god. God,
maybe
now
every
we're
other
like
week on
lucky.
slow
We're
times.
lucky to get under 90 minutes now.
Yeah. So that's my
Coming up
advice.
on the 90-minute mark now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they also asked finally what's your very early thoughts on Season of the Deep. We already did that. Tiger Jesus writes in, as
Tiger
always,
Jesus.
how do you guys think the TWABs will work with Marathon? Will Marathon and Destiny share a TWAB or have their separate posts? This actually got addressed a little bit in the TWAB this week. I want to read explicitly what they say in the Marathon section. This will be the last time you hear any Marathon specific news in the TWAB. We're going to be creating clear communication lanes going forward, and you can find Marathon News on the following channels. They have a Twitter, a Facebook, a YouTube, and a marathonthegame.com website. I do imagine this will change as we get closer to launch, especially as the game goes into, if it becomes a public alpha or a public beta. I imagine that is when we're going to be doing that. If I had to guess, they will probably, this is why I'm convinced that it's not coming until well after the final shape is out. I think they'll break it into This Week in Marathon and This Week in Destiny.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
But also, I think there's the potential that Marathon maybe doesn't have like weekly content to share, like something like Destiny will. We won't know more until we've actually like seen the game in action, honestly.
Yeah.
But that would be my guess, is that the TWAB will still be a thing, but it'll be like the TWIM or the TWID instead, which I think just is fun. That's just going to be fun. Where's TWID? Where TWIM?
Yeah.
Where TWIM? Yeah. There's also the entire possibility that the social leads over at Marathon, because it is not Liana, Sam, and Cosmos. Or Cosmos like head of communications, I think, but it's not Liana and Sam running it over there, and Dylan has obviously left Bungie. They may not want to do TWABs. They may want to do their own thing entirely, even though the TWAB has been a thing at Bungie for like 15 years now. Like, you know, at one point they had a podcast too, so who knows? There are a lot of things that can move there. Knox writes in and asks, what is the new exotic you are most excited to use or see in action? It's the Hunter Gauntlets. Everything Glaives is amplified by these. This is custom made for me. I had multiple community members reach out and be like, Josh, they made an exotic just for you. I'm sure you've seen it. I had not seen it. I have looked at it. It's the most bland ass gauntlets I've ever seen. I need an ornament for them stat. As soon as I get these, I'm never taking them off, Corey. I am running this forever. They give you like 4 perks built in. It's great.
It's true.
What about you?
Oh God. Sorry. What was the question? I got distracted by your glaive gauntlet talk.
What is the new exotic you're most excited to use or see in action? And so for reference, that is the Cenotaph mask for the Warlocks. In the hands of a Warlock, trace rifles automatically reload and mark combatants. Allies who assist in eliminating these targets are rewarded with heavy ammo. So I better see my Warlocks running trace rifles all the time.
Yeah. Sit in your well and you use a trace rifle.
The Arbor, shut the fuck up and use trace rifles. You're div bitch now. You thought it was bad before. Bust out that divinity. Not even joking a little bit. You have the Arbor Warden Titan chest piece. I think this thing looks dope as hell. Yeah, Titans are empowered to create grenades fueled by the Traveler's Light. When thrown, these new grenades explode and create a barricade at the impact location.
Let's go.
I think we have Corey's answer.
There we go.
And of course, the Triton Vice for the Hunter exotics. A Hunter's Glaive comes alive with power and overflows with each foe they dispatch. Matching subclass and glaive elements cause projectile eliminations to detonate. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I think this is awesome. I love that this article on Fanbyte is like, Hunter's getting a glaive-focused exotic feels a little lackluster, though it can be fun with the right build in PvE. Listen, I dominated Iron Banner with a glaive. Dealer and Joasis were my witnesses. I have a clip of it. Listen, glaives. That's all I want to say. I ran a glaive all last season. I don't think I took it off at all. I took it off for Ikelos SMG, and that was it. I ran Void Glaives all season with a Void subclass, and you know what? It felt fucking phenomenal. Okay? I don't want to... This is somebody who does not run Glaives enough. That's all I'm going to say. Oh my god. Now that we've gotten that over...
Oh God.
Oh man, yeah. So Warlocks went from getting to run Starfire and tons of fusion nades to sit in your well and use Div
Yep.
or
Well,
Cold
you
Heart
know,
or something. There's
that's
plenty
what
of
you get for
traits
being a
rifle
warlock.
options. That's what you get for being a warlock, indeed. Also, now that we've gotten good updates to a lot of the exotic weapons and armor, what is the next weapon and armor piece for each class you would like to see reworked? I'll answer for Warlocks real fast. Geomags. I really want to see Geomags or Storm Dancer's Embrace, I think is what it's called. Whatever
Mm,
that really rad chest piece you have with like the lightning coils on it.
mm.
I think that's what I want to see reworked for Warlocks. Um, as for Hunters, man, it's kind of hard. I think like we're like in a really good place with Hunters right now. Um, Corey, do you have an answer for Titans?
I mean, not
Because
really. I mean, I
Eternal
think,
Warrior just got buffed in a big way. I actually really love the Eternal Warrior change.
yeah. I mean, I don't really think so. I mean, man, I don't know. I think the Titans are actually in a pretty decent spot now too. I
Mhm.
think there's a lot of exotics that don't get used, but that's just because they don't. There's not enough situations where you should be wearing them
Well, and I
enough,
think when we
right?
talk
Like,
about like a rework, I think that's something we should take into consideration because like Salvation Script got completely changed, for example.
yeah,
Um, Eternal Warrior, got massively reworked. I think when we think about things like
yeah,
that, that's what I'd be looking at. Um,
yeah. I mean, also like, there's a lot of PvP oriented uh armor sets that I'm not super familiar with, just because I don't play a lot of PvP.
yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
I'll like a lot of PvP. Like, I'll play it when Iron Banner rolls around because I want to complete the quest and get my pinnacles or my rewards or
So
whatever, and then
I'm
dip.
gonna throw one out there hypothetically for Titans, and I don't know if this would just cause it to be too busted. I'm gonna throw out a Helm of Saint 14 one in your honor, Corey. I would like it that if you use Helm of Saint 14, I know that you get the bubble and everything.
Hmm.
Um, what if when you pop a barricade with Helm of Saint 14, you get Weapons of Light for like that 10 seconds, or you get like something that's not maybe not as
I
massive as
mean,
it, but you still get a buff,
I think, I think, man, I think the thing with the weapons of light with the barricade, right, is like you
or it
can't
definitely
shoot
makes your
through the.
barricade stronger at the very least.
Yeah, I mean that would work too, but I also think like if you use weapons of light, like you can't shoot through the barricade unless you have that very specific Titan exotic on. So like
Mhm.
I feel like unless you're like popping out and you have really high resilience and recovery on, and you kind of are working with a team, you know,
Well, I
that
mean,
knows what they're
I'm
doing.
thinking of it like more in like you
Yeah.
would use it. You can use it in PvP if you're really ballsy, but what if
Hmm.
like in PvE to like give you that little bit of an edge with
Yeah.
ads?
Yeah. And like I would almost say armor of light, but when you're running void titans now, your barricade gives you an overshield.
Right,
So like there's
right.
no reason to do that either. So
But I think
uh
it would give Helm like a reason to be used, like
I would
not just
actually
exclusively with Void.
I would actually like to see Helm of Saint 14 give you a little bit of an offensive power, because they've totally nerfed shoulder charge twice. And I would actually like to see them do that, because like
Okay.
Saint 14's whole thing is like, I don't know, headbutting people, and I'm like, well, that'd be super cool if you could like have a little bit more melee power, uh, or something like that with shoulder charge, like a shoulder charge type of move with it. So
Um,
I
as
miss
for like
shoulder charge.
a weapon, um,
Oh man,
I mean, so
weapons.
like first off, for I guess I should go back to armor piece. I'd really like for Blight Ranger to actually be useful for hunters. That's my answer. I want Blight Ranger to be useful. Um,
Shout
for
out to Sweet Business, by the way. That change.
Oh my god. Weapon that I would like to see reworked. I don't know about reworked, but maybe like unnerfed a little bit. 1K. I don't think that a raid exotic should just like basically be like a fly swatter going up against like a tank.
Yeah,
1K has been so nerfed into the ground, and I think it's been so long. It's been like 4 or 5 years. Like it's time. It's time. I'm sorry. It's easier than ever to go get the fucking exotic now. Riven is a joke that Nerd has
hmm,
been farming Last Wish for the last 2 days, and he has 3 of the 5 patterns completely done already.
yeah,
So It's a fucking joke. Go get 1K, guys, and let us unnerf it. Just let us have fun with it, even if it's for like a season or two. Let us have fun. That would be my answer.
Yeah, I would actually like to see some of the trace rifles make some sort of return in like a big way. You know,
I mean, they just buffed several of them though.
They did, but like,
and they're so fucking strong.
Yeah, but I'm talking like give them some. I don't know, like I always thought Cold Heart was cool because it like kind of froze enemies a little bit, and like it just like I want kind of that kind of change where like it actually like does something. Like remember when Ruinous Effigy came out and it created those orbs and like you could like throw them at people and it would be super cool. Like I kind of want something like that, to be honest. So that's kind of what I want. I like the idea of trace rifles. I just like unless I'm using them in very specific situations, I'm just kind of like I don't really need this in my inventory at all, really.
Yeah.
So.
Zal writes in, first question, have any theories on what the dungeon will be? I mean, no, Ghost of the Deep is like pretty ominous. So it's on Titan. We're going underwater. That's all I've got to contribute. I'm looking forward to chilling. I love that we go into these not knowing a single fucking thing. It's delightful to me. I was so thrilled to not have any idea what duality was going to be and then going, what the fuck in the first 30 seconds. Same with Prophecy. Both of those just threw me for such a huge loop that I'm like, I'm cool. I'm in. I think this is some of the most exciting content you can possibly make in the game today.
Yeah.
Is these dungeons. A question for Josh. Thoughts on the spoiler plot twist in Jedi Survivor? You don't have to say what it was, but you know what I'm talking about. It caught me off guard. I thought it was really good. Looking back on it, I don't know if I was like as big of a fan as I was about some of the other plot developments in the game. I definitely felt like it was there for the shock value, but I'm glad it kind of brought the story full circle, really like made you contend with like who Cal has become, who he's forced to become over the course of these two games. I like where it leaves you for a potential not potential, for the confirmed third installment and presumably final installment of the Jedi series. I think it leaves you in a really, really cool, albeit dark place. But I'll be honest, I didn't like that as much as I loved the exploration of the growing relationship between Cal and Marin. I thought that was so special and so well done. That was absolutely the highlight of the game for me. That, for me, I guess the twist didn't hit as hard for me because I was like, okay, cool. Like, it was shocking when it happened, and like I definitely think like all the dialogue and the story stuff around it is charged. It would have been more impactful if it involved certain other characters, I would say. It would have been more impactful, and I'm dancing around spoilers, and if people haven't finished it yet, feel free to message me about this one, because if anybody wants to talk Jedi Survivor spoilers, feel free to get in my inbox. Fox and I have been talking about it. I've been talking with Johnny. Great game though. I'm gonna be gushing about this one all year. Zhao also asks, that was a question just like kind of in general. Can we get an event sign up for fishing groups to just shoot the shit? Yes. Ronnie has made a couple of those for us for this week. He made them after you made that post.
Good job, Ronnie.
Good job, Ronnie. We love you. Hail Hydra Fool writes in and has had a couple of other questions for us beyond their question about Cayde and his ghost. What do you think of Marathon? We just gave our full thoughts. Corey, on the subject of Marathon, though, you have actually played the original one, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a long time ago.
I played it a long time ago too. I don't actually remember much of it.
Yeah, and for those who have Xbox, I'm sure it's on Steam and stuff. Durandal is actually on Xbox for like $10, so you can kind of revisit. Kind of like a reimagined, remastered version of it if you want. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was Bungie's answer to like Doom and Castle Wolfenstein, right? Like that was it was more cyberpunky. It was less violent, I would say, but it was
a Mac exclusive, believe it or not.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I played it. It was like it was super cool. I mean, it was kind of eerie, kind of cyberpunky dark kind of thing. It was fun. Like, if you're into the history of like a first person shooters, or if you're in the history of Bungie or something, it's definitely worth a look. It's definitely worth a play. Definitely doesn't hold up to something like Halo or anything at this point, but like it's definitely super cool. uh I think like the graphics and stuff are super cool too. It's one of those first person shooters where the gun's like right in the middle of the screen too. So it's kind of weird to go back to.
Yeah.
But
And then they also ask, what's the best way to start attempting a solo dungeon? Is there one that is seen as easier? So
God, this feels
we're
like a
probably
Joasis question.
yeah, this is a Joasis question. We are not the people to ask this. Neither one of us has even attempted the solo dungeon. I would say that if you're trying to start soloing, prophecy is not the way to go, and duality is still buggy as hell.
Hmm.
I would actually suggest Spire of the Watcher as a good one to start with.
Yeah,
Spire of the Watcher, or
Grasp I think would probably be a pretty
I always
take.
forget about Grasp. Yeah, Grasp would probably be a good one. That's definitely like more puzzle based than like combat focused.
Hmm.
And I mean, there's always the classic Shattered Throne.
Yeah,
Shattered Throne is just a cakewalk now.
yeah,
Especially if you're not trying to get a flawless, if you're just trying to do solo. I think
yeah,
Prophecy is by far. I think Prophecy is still far and away the hardest one, in my opinion.
yeah,
Um, I think Pit can get a little hairy in the encounter
yeah,
where you're trying to dunk the orbs.
yeah. I feel like the last room and duality would probably be pretty difficult too to do by yourself in some cases. uh
Um, I think the snipers in particular are the thing that makes that hard, but also like there's just so many things that can go wrong with you getting thrown into a wall and like
yeah,
killing you for no reason.
yeah,
It's a very glitchy encounter. If you're not, I think that Joe at one point said that was the only one he had in solo flawless because of the glitches.
yeah,
It's still broken a year after release.
yeah,
But I mean, it's just like I would say, like just do it. I would watch some streamers maybe that have done it. Look up some YouTube runs. That would kind of be my suggestion. Is like maybe you start with Spire or with Shattered Throne, and then Grasp and Duality could be the next tier. And then I think like Pit, and I mean Pit's still really easy overall. Just God, running around with those fucking symbols in the opening part is annoying.
hmm,
Um, the ogres too, invincible ogre part. Um, and then prophecy is just don't. If you do prophecy, I hats off to you. You're my hero if you do prophecy.
yeah.
Um,
Prophecy's still like one of the that dungeon's so cool, man.
I fucking love it. It's still like my favorite aesthetic of anything done in Destiny, I think.
Yeah,
Nadiki writes in, what are your thoughts on fishing? And have you managed to get an exotic fish yet? Fishing's fucking awesome. I love it. I think we all love it because it's just something so out of the wheelhouse for Destiny. I think we're all going to be bored with it in like 2 weeks. But
yeah,
for
but
now,
it's
I
fun.
like it. I hope that there is something in Solstice related to fishing because I think that would be really funny.
Hmm.
We have a big summer event and we finally have something you do during the summer, which is go fishing. I think that could be really fun. I have not caught an exotic fish, but I have gotten credit for it because somebody in my instance caught one and I danced because it was just me and that person and we were both very happy. Um, Joasis writes in with our final question of the week. He goes, do you think they'll ever add contest mode to the first 24 hours of dungeons? Yes.
Hmm.
But if you're going to, I think they're going to have to be harder than they've been before because I don't think that like I think they'll do a contest mode, but I don't think that they're going to track things like worlds first. I think that would be not necessarily silly, but I don't know. I don't think that they'll ever do that. I think that would get not necessarily out of hand, but just like, do we really need this? I do
Yeah,
think a contest mode could be a thing, especially with the increased difficulty would be a thing, obviously. Um, I'd like to see that. I've been an advocate for give us more, challenging modes so that people who want that can have it. But I think that the thing is, if you do a contest mode, I do think there should be the option on launch day for there to also be the regular one launched at the same time. Because I don't think, in the instance of a raid, I get it. Um, but I don't agree with that for a 3-man activity that
yeah,
you're charging extra for to lock people out for a whole day. I think that's a little silly. So as long as you could still launch the regular one, I would agree.
Mhm.
Maybe you make it where like if you do contest, you're like guaranteed the exotic, or you get like you have like a permanent 15% boost to your exotic chances or something. But leave contest up for whoever wants to do it whenever they want to do it. Just hey, if you do contest ever, you get like the bonus 10%, you get like a bonus 10% chance and a special emblem. But if you do it in that first 24 hours, you get an exclusive emblem. Maybe you get like a special transmat and you get a permanent 15% boost to getting the exotic. I think if you did things like that, there would be more incentivizing to do it. And something like a dungeon, I feel like you wouldn't have to set aside entire days like you do dungeon or like you do raids.
Mhm.
It would probably be a 48-hour thing also, which I'd be okay with. But again, I think the difference there is as long as the regular version is there, that
Yeah.
would be the important thing. When you are charging for a dungeon pass, I think you would have to make that accessible to everyone right
Yeah.
off the bat. Otherwise, it's kind of
Mhm.
shitty. So that's my only
Yeah.
take on that. Well, Corey,
Yes,
it's been a
Josh.
week.
God, it's been a fucking week, man.
It's been a fucking week. I want to address
Uh,
one more thing before we get out of here.
yeah.
I meant to put this at the beginning of the show. We were talking about like Marathon and Bungie and whatnot. We covered this on our breakdown of the PlayStation Showcase, but during the shareholder meeting that went on this week on Tuesday, Herman Hulst talked a little bit about Bungie's influence over at SIE, and specifically said that Bungie is that there's a team from Bungie that is part of their vigorous reviewing of all 12 in production live service titles. And we talked about this, and we were just kind of like, man, how shitty for both the people from Bungie and the people who are getting evaluated. Like, I
Right.
would not want my colleagues at the company I work at doing that. Like, you make a very specific kind of game. How the hell do you know what's going on in my game? You know?
Yeah. Right.
I think that's kind of shitty, and I think that's a really like this is why they wanted Bungie though, right? Because Bungie's been successful with Destiny in this arena.
I mean, this is
Um,
really like, I mean, aside from like the standouts of like, I mean, something like Fortnite or World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14, right? Like Bungie's the one, you point to and like they did it, uh, if you're not including like the big MMOs, right? So,
yeah,
uh,
I mean, it's definitely there's no denying Destiny's been a success. But I think that you know Sony is putting an awful lot of pressure on Bungie right now, and that's maybe not like the best thing to do when they're trying to wrap a saga and launch another IP in addition to maybe having as many as like 2 to 3 other games in incubation if you include the NetEase partnership,
right.
Matter, and the third person game that we've heard about.
Hmm.
There's a lot there that they're working
Yeah.
on in various stages, and I mean some of that may never make it to market, right? But I think that's putting like unnecessary pressure on Bungie. I find it very funny that Bungie is like working on a mobile game and on a third-person action adventure game when Sony is so desperately trying to get into the live service arena,
Yeah.
and Bungie is like actively trying to go in a different direction with some of it. But also like, yeah, they may do live service, but like, look how much fucking story and lore is in Destiny, right?
I know. It's,
Like, it's not going to be something like Last of Us Factions,
mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
There's actually a story to this, so I'm curious to see how this partnership shakes out and like see if there's like any buyer or seller remorse a couple years down the line. I'd be interested to take a look back at this maybe in like 2-3 years after marathons come out and be
Right.
like, man, I would just love to like pick people's brains and be like, would you have done this differently? Would you done?
Hmm.
And I mean, like, I'll never be in a room with Herman Hulst, right? But I
Hmm.
would love to just ask him in a couple years, like, would you do things differently? Like, 3.6
Hmm.
billion was a lot to throw out there for Bungie. And I mean, like, hey, it's Bungie. They're one of the best studios on the planet at what they do. But
Right.
I don't think that having them peer review work is exactly like what was envisioned when it was said, oh, yeah, they're going to help us evaluate the portfolio. Like, damn, they're making it sound like they're the hall monitors over here. Like,
Right.
Jesus Christ. What are you doing? Making Luke Smith go tell people, "Hey man, listen, I know I headed up Curse of Osiris, but your shit sucks."
Right.
Like
Yeah.
we talked about like Deviation Games has presumably canceled the game they were working on that was going to be a Sony PlayStation exclusive and laid off almost 100 people like a week ago.
Right.
And they were working on a live service game like damn, like are you telling me that like people from this studio had to be involved in that decision? And that's pure speculation and conjecture on my part. Like, I have no idea. They'll never confirm or deny that, obviously.
Right.
Why would you, right? Like, oh yeah, Bungie's the total reason that it went up in flames. They totally sold out their ex coworkers who made the studio. Um, but I think that this puts both Bungie and SIE Studios into a really uncomfortable spot, especially if it comes to something like say the Twisted Metal reboot is real, right? From the Destruction
Mm-hmm.
All Stars team, like they have another stinker, they're probably done. They're probably done. Like that team's gone if they're not already gone and been restructured into something else. Like that's a really depressing place to be at, and all this leads to with all the they plan on 60% of their game budgets going to live service games within the next 2 years. That is an insane phrase to say when you see how much they spend on their single player games.
Right.
And all this is going to do is lead to games. Andy Cortez said this really good on Kind of Funny's PS I Love You pod that came out yesterday after the showcase. He says all this leads to is games that we play for 2-3 weeks and then everybody forgets about, and then they have to lay off their staffs because nobody's playing their games and consuming the content and buying microtransactions, etc. Like, you are really banking that every one of these games is going to be a hit at that point. You're not even using established franchises like Killzone or SOCOM or Resistance that like
Right.
might have or Twisted Metal that like might have a fighting chance here. Like Last of Us Factions will have a fighting chance, but like something like Haven's Game Fair Games, good luck.
Yeah.
Something like Firewalk's game, Concord, like I need to see what that actually is before I get excited. Like Marathon has the best chance to succeed of anything that they showed that's live service because it's Bungie.
Right.
And even that's very much in the air because it's an extraction shooter.
Right.
So like that again, that can go really good or really bad. Like they've redefined FPS games twice before. Can they do it a third time?
Right.
Is the question. So I just kind of wanted to leave on that nugget. Wanted to kind of put that in there at the end since we talked so much Bungie content today. Kind of like behind the scenes of what they've been doing for the last year with Sony. And I would also make the note that Jim Ryan confirmed that they are actively looking to develop multimedia within the Destiny universe. Like they're actually having those conversations now. So
which is why we speculated Bungie
yeah
agreed to this in the first place, right? Because of the Sony's resources there. So.
I mean, there were two things. One, they were getting Sony's media resources, but two, they were going to be allowed to remain multi-platform. Like I saw so many people being surprised, like, oh my god, I can't believe Marathon's multi-platform. I thought just Destiny was, and like, no, they kind of stipulated this from the beginning, and I think Sony obviously made the right decision to let them do that and be their own entity still. Because kind of like how Xbox and Bethesda are still technically separate, like that's very much how the Bungie agreement is here. Because like they always market it as the Xbox Bethesda showcase and stuff, and they're gonna eventually be like Xbox Bethesda, Activision Blizzard, like see what's coming from all three branches of Microsoft and whatnot. Even Activision Blizzard itself, it's Activision Blizzard King, right? So like that's great. They've been allowed to retain that, and they said that they're going to get to retain creative autonomy with the budget of a PlayStation Studios game. And I hope that's true. Like this is kind of your flagship like live service right now. It's going to be this and Marathon. This Marathon and Factions are kind of like that triangle there, and two of them are on every platform known to man. So I think that we're in an era where live service games at least have to come to PC if they want a fighting chance. And they seem to be doing the right thing with Concord and with Fair Games, but I'm curious to see how this shakes out.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing, especially for Haven with Jade Raymond attached, right?
Yeah.
Like that, like
you have to wonder at this point, was this the game that she was working on at Stadia?
Yeah, I wonder. Or
I feel like that's pretty. Yeah, I feel like an alpha version of it was in development there because I mean, like they immediately came out and said, "Yeah, we're full steam ahead. We have a whole studio ready to go, and this and that." I have to wonder if this was one of the games she was overseeing at Stadia before it got shut down. And I don't think they'll ever come out and explicitly say yes or no, but I have to think like a live service game. It would make sense for Sony to try and acquire that, and to acquire the studio. Obviously, I mean, Jade Raymond, like. The one of the minds behind Assassin's Creed. Like, yeah, I'd go hire her too in a heartbeat. But I think it's very tricky. I think when you try to put other studios in charge of monitoring what studios are doing. It would be like Microsoft putting the Coalition in there as 343's babysitter, or like id Software as the
Well,
babysitter for
maybe,
343. I
maybe,
mean,
maybe
well,
343 needs
maybe
one.
it should happen, but like, we know live service portfolio doesn't just mean like shooters. So like, does that mean like they're overseeing like things that Gran Turismo are getting, or like, like we said, Twisted Metal? Like,
Mhm.
it's one thing to help with the development. It's another thing to be the one actively reviewing it. Like, it's a fucking financial portfolio.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm curious to see how this all shakes out over the next year or two. But that showcase did not inspire confidence for me. The Bungie part was cool, and Spider-Man was cool. The rest of it,
Right.
I felt like I was watching a Microsoft show. But with that, Corey, we should probably
With
stop the
that,
doom and glooming. Let's get out of here. We've been going for 2 hours here.
we've been going for almost 3.5.
We really have
To
been
be
going
fair.
for over 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this episode of Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. You can follow us on social media at Tower Casuals. Join the Discord.
Join the
Josh,
Discord.
thank you for your extra time tonight.
Of course.
Your knowledge and your voice is always appreciated, not just for Destiny, but for the other things that, I like to do in my spare time. So, where can we find you?
Twitter at Josh_Finn, 2 N's. And of course, you guys can find me in the Discord. I'm always hanging out in there. Yeah, we're having a great time over there. Great time.
Great time. You can find me at I am Corey HC on Twitter and Instagram. You can catch Josh and I on the PlayStation Showcase breakdown episode of Boss Rush podcast coming out soon. If you're in the Discord, I might throw it in there just to share. So I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.